I got enemies, got a lot of enemies, got a lot of peasants trying to storm my palace, hating me, they're trying to take the crown from my Louis, blaming me for incest, calling me a serpent, xenophobia, taking over minds of the French, hating on Austria, they be calling my name, from the third estate, taxes I held parties and drank, I got a secret Swedish lover that won't clear up my name, but I sincerely implore pardon of God for all faults which I may have committed during my life. I trust that in His goodness He will mercifully accept my prayers. Hope my lavish life's not over. I need justice for life.
Marie Antoinette was born in Vienna, the second youngest of 15 children. She had a very social childhood in contrast to her spouse, Louis XVI, who had a very austere upbringing. Marie was married to Louis when she was 14, and as a young girl who was still growing up, she often acted frivolously and was a profligate spender. An evident example being her extravagant fashion. She took full advantage of her status as the queen, buying over 200 new dresses each year. And she had the Hamel de la Reine and the Petit Trianon built for her leisure, which she spent 2 million francs on, equivalent to $6 million US. The French became enraged at her excessive spending, naming her Madame Deficit, and spinning ugly stories and rumors about her affairs and promiscuous ways. Along with Louis as a monarch, her poor reputation caused the French people to become more critical of the monarchy's failure to recover from France's economic downfall. She was accused left and right of the most outrageous things, from sexually abusing her son, having incest, to having multiple affairs with all the men in court. Shortly after Louis' death, she was guillotined and charged for all her supposed crimes in October 1792.
We fake it till we make it, work while everyone doubts. Wanted to be a good king and help my people out, but I was left with so much debt, barely had confidence. Trying to implement enlightenment ideals for the best, but the French nobles, they were hostile, and everyone else, they hated my governing style. Wishing that my confidence was made out of war, and they hated me more as my policies were torn. Time went on and people revolted, felt like we were doomed to Austria revolted. What was I to do? Nothing worked out before. Tried the Estate General, but then they wanted more. He gave me the Assembly plus the National Guard, then they stormed the Bastille, made us move to Paris. It's sad they later found proof of my secret affairs. I was guilty, then I was guillotined.
Louis was not compatible with Marie, who was outgoing and always hosting and going to parties. Louis wanted to be loved by the French people, but his many attempted reforms were shot down by the French nobles, who wanted to preserve the old regime. It was said that his indecisiveness was partly due to his depression. He had inherited a French government that was already deeply in debt, but when he appointed Colonna the finance minister in 1783, the national debt increased from 300 million francs to 600 million francs in only 3 years. Louis then decided to call the Estates General, and hence the French Revolution began. 361 voted for Louis XVI's death, while 288 voted against.
While Louis XVI's inability to rule effectively was a contributing factor to peasant unrest, the drought of 1788 also played an important role in sparking riots. It resulted in crop failure and higher bread prices. French people began spending 38% more on bread than in normal times. Louis did not, however, pass legislation that could have improved the peasants' conditions and lessened discontent because he wanted to maintain absolute power. For example, taxes were mainly forced upon the Third Estate, and they were also the only class that was randomly chosen for military service. It became customary to blame Marie Antoinette for their problems, even though she was not solely responsible for the economic crisis. French people were upset by how she evaded her responsibilities as a queen, often spending time at the Petit Trianon to escape her duties and court life. Revolutionaries later killed her best friend, the Princess of Lamballe, and waved her head in front of Marie's window.
Louis the Last and Madame Vito. We go 0 to 100 Louis real quick. They be on that Versailles lavish spending. We know how to food, not even crumbs to eat. Oh Lord, know yourself, know your worth, Marie. Your fancy dress could feed the hungry peasants. Petit Trianon and Hamel de la Reine to milk. If she wanna buy that, she can buy it with her own money. Oh Louis, those taxes are piling up. Shout out to Anna Felicite Guinée. Jail taken away, she expressed frustration. She says on the spot arrested, brought to the guardhouse, battle in my blood. Push me back with such brutality. Persecuted by fate, hard restoring my health. That mean I'm beat up. And when I complain, they put a knife to my throat.
Louis Marie don't care about her thoughts, no. Yeah, he said it so himself. He replied to Parliament, he don't care about our vote.
Bourbon court life in the late 18th century dramatically affected the peasant unrest that contributed to the French Revolution. Even though French people actually had many rights in comparison to other Europeans, they were very resentful of the Bourbon court's costly affairs. Had Louis and Marie been more careful with how they conducted themselves, the French people would have supported them more. While Louis and Marie could have done nothing to prevent the crippling debt that they were handed when they became monarchs, and could not have influenced the weather-related food shortages, their frivolous lifestyles were their own choice. Peasants that participated in various events, like the Women's March to Versailles, were frustrated because of high bread prices, but were also influenced by their dislike of the monarchs. They were upset that the king and queen lived luxurious lives while they starved. Thus, Bourbon court life led to much of the discontent, and many peasant riots were representative of the large effect that the Bourbon court had on events leading to the Revolution. Even though the French Revolution itself may have been inevitable, the quick escalation of events was a direct result of Bourbon court life.